Hello friends, it's Miss Lukens. This is our book that we have been enjoying together during our first days at school. I wanted to give everyone an opportunity to be able to see the whole book and revisit it after we have our Zoom time together. There are lots of other schools in the book that we didn't look at together this week. So hopefully, as you're reading this book with your grown-up or by yourself, you'll get to learn about some other places. I'll stop every once in a while and ask some questions so that you can have time to look at the pictures. School Days Around the World. Written by Margaret Roers, illustrated by Alice Fagan. I don't mind if I have to sit on the floor at school. All I want is education. Malala Yousafzai. Malala is a very special young lady who helped people in her country stand up for their right to get an education. She has done work all over the world and been able to travel because she really wanted to go to school, and she made sure that the people in her home country knew that it was important to her. So here is our table of contents, because this book has information in it, so it helps you be able to see what pages will teach you about the different countries. As we look down the list, we see lots of different countries. We visited China when we read together. That's on page 16. We visited Germany on page 26 and the USA on page 34. Now we'll get to see some of the other countries and read together. School Days Around the World. What is a school? Is it a building with classrooms? Or can it be any place where children learn? Let's take a journey around the world to see what school is like for kids in different countries. Look closely at the picture of the planet Earth and the children. They're riding a pencil. Their pencil is going to help them learn and go around the world. That's so funny. You will meet some children who live at school and others who have to walk a long way to get there. You will see schools with libraries and computers, but also schools with hardly any books at all. Schools around the world may be very different, but children everywhere like to have friends and learn new things. Perhaps they are just like you. Tamatoa goes to school on Rarotonga, one of the Cook Islands in the South Pacific. Just as I slide off our family's scooter, I hear the pounding of the wooden slit drum. Thang, dong, thang. School is starting. We stream into school like a river. There's Tamatoa at the top, and below him you can see a classmate playing the drum to let the children know it's time to start school. I am glad that the ceiling fans are on. It gets hot on our tropical island. Our teacher always wears flowers in her hair. Kia orana, welcome, she says. Let us practice the Ura language. The drum sounds for lunch break. We race to the whale-watching fort by the sea and pretend to be fierce warriors. Because they live on an island, they're close to the ocean, so one of their activities can be watching for whales as they swim past their island. After lunch, we dance hoopa. Swaying hips and swinging arms, the whole school does our traditional island dance. All the children are learning about this special dance that's a part of their culture, a part of how the people in their community come together to spend time and celebrate. Everybody looks so happy with their hands up and their hips moving. Raphael attends an international school in Singapore. In my class, there are students from 15 different countries. Most of us speak several different languages. I speak Dutch, English, and Spanish. Aman is my best friend. He speaks Hindi, Chinese, and English. At lunchtime, we eat in the canteen. We choose Indian, Western, or Chinese food. My favorite is lo mein. I have the best teacher in the world. He likes taking photographs, and so do I. He reads to us and helps us write stories on the computer. So Raphael has lots of different ways that he's learning. He has his different languages and different foods. And he even gets to take pictures with his teacher. We've been doing that when we do our activities at home and we take a picture so that you can share it with Miss Lukens and Miss Hall. My favorite place in the whole school is the library. It has books about everything. We can take the books home too. Sometimes we have a craft fair to raise money to help children in other parts of the world. So while they're at school, they use their art to be helpful for other people. Look at all the different pieces of art at the fair. I see books and bowls, bracelets and necklaces, and cups, and special little containers. Maybe they're vases. Alina goes to school in Taras, Kazakhstan. I am out of breath by the time I reach my classroom on the 3rd floor of my school. Lots of stairs. Today it is my turn to water the plants on the sunny windowsill. She has a special job today. Our teacher arrives and we open our books. Reading is my favorite subject. I especially love Kurmash, a magazine for Kazakh children. Look, there's a special animal on the front of her magazine. School is over at 12:30 p.m. Grandmother is already waiting on the big couch near the office. How was school? She asks. It was fun, I say. I skip rope all the way to the market. So Alina's grandmother helps her get home from school. Some of us spend time with our grandparents too. We buy oranges, potatoes, and a bag of warm barsaks. When we get home, we will eat some with our tea. A barsak is a special pastry, so almost like a donut from Kazakhstan. See the woman at the market giving it to Alina to take home? Marta goes to school in Azezo, Ethiopia. I walk along the dusty road to school with my godenya, Ayana. It is early morning, but already the sun is hot on our backs. I am blind, so I hold my friend's hand tightly as she helps me around potholes and cow patties. Marta has a long way to go to school, and her friend helps her get there because they know it's important to be at school together. There are 70 students in our class and 500 in our school, but many more students use the same school. That's why I have classes only in the morning. In the afternoon, 500 more students come to learn. So many children are coming to learn at Marta's school. Some come in the morning and some come in the afternoon. We're doing that with our Zoom meetings. Sometimes we see each other in the morning and sometimes we see each other in the afternoon. You can choose based on what your family's doing. Our language is Amharic. Someday, I hope to learn English too. We are learning all about Ethiopia. I listen closely to what the teacher says as she writes it on the board. I may not be able to see, but I can imagine everything. Marta uses her own special skills to do her learning. She can't see the words, but she listens carefully so that she can still learn. At noon, Ayana and I hurry home to help feed the ox and cow and to fetch water from the village well. In the afternoon, it's not their turn at school anymore, so they go home to help their families. Mathai goes to school in Kikima, Kenya. My friends and I live in an orphanage because our parents died. The sun is barely up when I hurry to school to sweep the floors. The students and teachers arrive and we gather at the flagpole for mboya and announcements. Everyone wants to learn, whether they come from a big family, a small family, or they live together with other children who need help too. We learn in Kikamba, the language of our people. We have books that were donated to our school. I like to look at the pictures of animals and people in different countries. When I grow up, I want to be a pilot. Maybe then I will get to see these faraway places. Mathai wants to learn all about the world and he wants to travel, so he's doing his learning at school. Back at the orphanage, I change out of my school uniform to do my chores. My friends and I share meals and a room. We do homework, talk about our day, and fall asleep when all grows quiet. Bilge goes to school in Alatarla, Turkey. My school is in another town. I ride to school in an okul tasiti. Children from more than 50 villages get to the same school in the same way. So we all live in Wilmington. We live in different parts of Wilmington, but we all live in the same city and come to school together. For Bilge, some of his friends from school come from totally different towns. At school, we line up for the flag ceremony. Then we all go to class. My school has a science lab and a computer lab. My favorite subject is math.
Hi. I am not.
We all eat lunch in the big dining hall. Then we rush outside to play soccer. Look at the food on their plates. Looks pretty familiar. They have vegetables and a sandwich and a drink. Those are things we get too. Anika goes to school in Copenhagen, Denmark. My school is like two schools, one in the city and one in the forest. In our city school, we sit in a circle on the floor and talk about many things, or we make music and sing songs. For lunch, we eat rye bread with cold meat. Ooh, that sounds like a tasty sandwich. This sounds a lot like what we do. We sit together, we talk, or we sing and make music and movement. Some days, the school bus takes us to our forest school. When we get there, we run and climb on an old boat. We play on swings and with a ball. We are almost always outside, listening to birds, learning about plants and insects. Even in winter, we are outside, bundled up in flyverdrakter and hats to stay warm. That's their special clothes because Denmark is a very cold place. So they do learning inside at school and outside in nature. We can do that too when we play outside or go for walks with our families. Luciano goes to school in Merida, Venezuela. On days when I am lucky, my father drops me off at school in the taxi he drives. The bell rings at 8:30 a.m. We greet our teacher. Buenos dias, profesor. My classroom is bright green. There are posters on the walls. Our teacher says bright colors help our brains learn better. We have bright colors in our classroom too, on our carpets and on our walls and our bulletin boards. I bet some of your toys and your clothes are bright colors too. My favorite subject is music. I play the violin and dream of playing in a big orchestra. An orchestra is a big band full of instruments like violins and trumpets. That's Luciano's dream when he grows up. School is over at 12:30 p.m. I walk home along busy city streets. Later, I do homework and chores, but I still have time to play soccer with my friends. So Luciano's school day is over at 12:30. Some of the other children in our book also only go to school in the morning. And we talked about how we have our Zoom meetings in the morning or the afternoon. Ana goes to school in San Luis, Honduras. I walk an hour from my home in the hills to our new school. My padre helped build the school. The people from our village helped too, and others came from far away. The school is made of bricks and has a metal roof. When it rains, the water pings off the roof. It is noisy. The friends from her village know that school is important, so they all worked together to build a school for their children. We have 2 teachers who teach us how to read and write. We have 2 teachers also, Miss Hall and Miss Lukens. I like to write stories and draw pictures for my little brother who doesn't go to school yet. Sometimes a nurse visits our school. She teaches us how to brush our teeth and stay healthy. One day, a van comes full of backpacks. We each get a backpack with books and school supplies, even running shoes. So because they know school is important, they get help to get the things they need, like books and even great shoes so they can play safely outside. Shanika goes to a First Nations school in Alberta, Canada. That's nearby Alaska. In the morning, I walk across the reserve to my school with my mom and dad. We call it the Pink School. I guess you can see why. So I guess that pink building is her school in the picture. First, we have breakfast. Then we do math and language arts. We also learn our traditional Cree language. We all have our own tablets to help us learn. So you look at her materials. She has her tablet. She has a paper with numbers to do math. She has a book of her language, Cree, and a basket of art materials. My friends and I eat lunch at school. Bannock loaded with beans and cheese. We call them bannock tacos. Bannock is a type of bread that the First Nations people bake. After lunch, Kokum Anita sometimes comes to tell stories. A kokum is a special grown-up in the Cree culture. Other elders teach us powwow dances, drumming, and how to raise a teepee. They also hold feasts where they pray for us, and our whole community shares tea, soup, bannock, and berries. They're working together as a community to learn. Schools everywhere. Teachers and students all over the world make every school special. Do you have a favorite book or magazine that you like to read, like Alina in Kazakhstan? Are you learning traditional dances, like children on the Cook Islands and in Canada? Or do you like to help others, like Raphael and his friends at their craft fair in Singapore? Every child has the right to an education. Education means more than just learning to add numbers or spell words. It also means learning to understand how children in other countries live. The whole world can be a school. All right, friends, that's the end of our story. Thanks for listening and reading with me.